But before you guys go, I wanted to leave you with one act of resistance that's going on in Europe, and get your reaction to this. This is, and I'll play this report from a reporter, a correspondent who produced this for Dropside News. This is so the Genoa dock workers met recently and held a vote on whether or not to basically shut down the port of Genoa, which then would have a knock-on effect of effectively significantly shutting down commerce in Europe if the flotilla on its way to Gaza is impeded. Let me just play this short video.
Seguiremo le regole dell'umanità, che non sono quelle delle maledette leggi di questo paese.
Prima te che sei professionista.
E il fatto che questi attacchi, come dire, potevano in qualche maniera, no, far abbassare il morale.
Per noi non è proprio ammissibile, spiegabile che noi possiamo andare a 17.000 contenitori a Israele e non si riesca a passare 50 tonnellate, e non si riesca a avere un canale umanitario esterno, che non si possa portare.
Forza dei lavoratori e dei portuali di Genova abbiamo sommato la volontà di proclamare uno sciopero generale. Questa è l'indicazione. Abbiamo detto, questa data è per il momento il 22 di settembre.
So the current date for this strike would be September 22nd. Is this, do you expect this to be another gesture that fizzles, or are we starting to see something here?
I mean, to shut down the port is something new, but to block shipments of weapons destined for Israel by dock workers and longshoremen is not new. This is something that has happened in the United States, in places like Port of Tacoma in Seattle, in Australia, in Canada, in Italy, in South Africa, in Belgium. All of these places have had instances where people take direct action, either dock workers themselves or protesters blocking the dock and preventing the shipment of munitions. Shutting down the entire port, I think it will be much harder to achieve, of course, because the state will come in much heavier. Mm-hmm. But these types of radical actions and direct actions, I think, are what are very much necessary. The famous quote of Mario Savio: "You have to, put your body into the cogs of the machine and stop the machine from working." This is what needs to happen. People need to lie down on the street and stop traffic, because it's just continuing, and the weapons continue to come from the United States. So these very brave dock workers that prevent shipments of weapons from docking, I think is very welcome. I think it's very welcome. The people trying to create a humanitarian corridor through the flotilla to Gaza, it's very difficult. It hasn't worked in the past, but I think from people I speak to in Gaza, they very much appreciate it. These are the types of actions, direct actions that people can do, where there's some kind of sacrifice to try and stop this war.
Ryan, if you stitch together everything we've seen happen over the past 22 months in terms of how the world community has responded, I'm not talking about exclusively nation states. I mean ordinary people, whether it's students or it's the dock workers or the longshoremen, medical workers around the world. And then, yes, the pressure that resulted then in some European and other governments doing more than they have in the past. And in some cases, going far beyond what even people in their own country thought was possible. If we stitch together all of this and look at the quilt that is emerging of this world response, and then we juxtapose that with the mass murder, the systematic attempt to annihilate the Palestinians, not just in Gaza, but increasingly now focusing on the occupied West Bank and occupied Jerusalem. If this isn't the moment that the world collectively wakes up and decides Israel must be confronted, that an entity that refers to itself as a nation state that is backed by the United States, if it is allowed to operate like this in the world, what is the point of any international institution? What is the point of any international law anymore? So, you know, when I watch that speech, and I agree, it's inspirational. This is the moment of truth of the past 76 years, because it's all out in the open. No one can claim they don't understand it. Only a narrow group of very sadistic, evil people can claim that the truth is not true right now. And so that's the challenge in front of all of us. Now, what does the world do? What do you do when you can't deny any of it because it's out in the open in front of you?